only took them 3 years, but it's finally here. The long-awaited sequel to one of my favorite animated films, The Book of Life. And to commemorate this, I thought I'd sing you all a song. Ready? A 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, what? What's that? This wasn't the sequel to Book of Life? Huh. Well, that ruined my opening. Buenas tardes y buenas noches, mis amigos. Chico, Crítico, Negro aquí, and I'm here today to review the film Coco. What, you thought I was gonna do that whole thing in Spanish? Please, I can barely get through the first sentence. Oh, but before I begin, Feliz cumpleaños, Sloan. Now, Coco follows a young boy named Miguel Rivera who aspires to become a musician, but because of his family's harsh stance against music, is unable to. But on Dia de los Muertos, he decides to participate in a music competition, but is unable to because he doesn't have a musical instrument. And so he decides to break into the tomb of the legendary Mexican singer Ernesto de la Cruz and take his iconic guitar. But in taking from the dead, he finds himself landing in the land of the dead. And now Miguel must find his way back to the land of the living or become a permanent member of the land of the dead. Now, I've been looking forward to Coco since they first announced it back in, I believe, 2014, which coincidentally was the exact same year that another animated film about Dia de los Muertos came out, The Book of Life, which is one of my favorite animated films in the past decade. It's really fun, entertaining, and the animation was very unique and visually impressive. It's a highly underrated film, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend you check it out. And before any of you type it in the comments, I'm not going to be comparing these two films as they're both vastly different from each other. The only thing these two share in common is that they both center around Dia de los Muertos. That's the end of the comparisons, as both have a different story, characters, and animation style. Well, actually, there is one more thing these two films share in common. They both succeed at making a fun and entertaining film about Dia de los Muertos. First up, as always, and it really should go without saying at this point, but I'm going to say it anyway, the animation here is absolutely breathtaking and phenomenal. I don't know how Pixar keeps finding new ways to impress me with their animation year after year. They just keep getting better and better and better, and I absolutely love it. The design for each of the characters are distinct, and the world itself is just bursting with color and imagination, and I adore the way that they animated the skeletons in this film. For something that's supposed to be so rigid and structured, they find really creative ways to make these characters move, especially Hector. I mean, this character's just bouncing all over the place. It's like his bones are made of rubber or something. And playing off of Hector, not only was his animation done well, but the sound design for him is superb. Whenever this character would move, you hear it just jingling and jangling like the bones are like rubbing against each other or popping in and out. I really love that attention to detail, which isn't really surprising as Pixar is known for the level of detail that they put in each and every one of their films. I mean, just look at the animation again. In fact, let me go back a little bit. Before this film even began, you had the director, the co-director, and some woman, I don't know who she was, but they actually went into the process of how they created the land of the dead. And to see all the pieces that they had to work to make that whole scene come to life is absolutely incredible. And again, I must applaud those animators, man. That must have been really tough to do, and they pulled it off in flying colors. Get it? Because it's so color. Oh my god, I was doing so well. It's been months since I made a pun like, oh, why did I decide to do it now? During Disney Week! The voice acting's great. Everyone did well with their performance, and I gotta give it up to the little kid who voices the main character, Miguel. He was very convincing in the role. I didn't really expect much from him, and he has a great singing voice too. Not only can he voice act, but he can also sing his heart out. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that the story of Coco blew me away with its originality. It's actually quite a conventional story that we have seen a dozen times before. But I'm willing to forgive that because the story is just so engaging and fun to watch. I could not take my eyes away from the screen. Maybe that could be attributed to the beautiful animation, or it could be because I was enthralled by the story. I love the adventure aspect. I love seeing Miguel interact with all these characters and travel through the land of the dead trying to find his great-great-grandfather. And of course, no Pixar story would be complete without the obligatory tug at your heartstring moments, and Coco definitely has quite a few. And I won't lie, they were very effective. They did tug at my heartstrings, and some of these scenes brought me to tears. Particularly a scene in the middle of the film, near the end of the second act. That really got me. I was tearing up, I was bawling, I'm like, wow. It's beautiful, it's tragic, it's touching, it hits all the right emotions, and Pixar is a master at doing that. But I think one of the main contributors as to why the story works so well is because of the characters, as they're so genuine and likable. There's this one scene where the grandma is like walking through the town, she's trying to chase a dog away, and then she throws her shoe at the dog. I'm not kidding. I have seen that here on Guam many a time, where you're trying to shoo away a stray dog and then they throw the shoe and then they'll tell their kid, go get my shoe. I'm like, that is so real. I love the small scenes like that. Those small character interactions go a long way to make these characters feel down to earth and real. They make them feel like actual people. And I really enjoyed Miguel and Hector. They're the best characters in the entire film. They have the best relationship. And that one scene where they're performing in front of all the other skeleton people inside the plaza, that was one of the most entertaining scenes in the entire film. They're singing a song called Un Poco Loco. That might be my second favorite song in the entire film. The best song, of course, is Remember Me, which undoubtedly is going to be nominated for Best Original Song. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to get a nomination. Oh, I also failed to talk about the music. It's really good. I won't say it's the greatest, but it's really good. And there are two great songs, Un Poco Loco and, of course, Remember Me. But back to the characters. I like their relationship, Miguel and Hector. I really feel like they bonded through this journey. They had a lot of great banter and some really solid sentimental and emotional moments where they connected with one another. And though we don't get to see the entire family for the majority of the film, I still found them really likable, and they served their purpose well. Now, I've kind of touched upon a few of the issues I found with Coco, like the conventional, predictable story, which again, I'm going to be forgiving since it was still entertaining and I was fully invested in it, and the fact that Miguel doesn't spend much time interacting with his family, both alive and dead. But I think the biggest problem with this film, and something that I thought was totally unnecessary, is that the film has a quote-unquote villain, or a villainous character, somebody that acts villainous. And one, the way that they handle the character is so derivative, it's so over the top that I'm like, really? We're gonna go that direction? We're gonna have that type of villain? Come on, we didn't really need that type of villain. You could have done something interesting with that character, or maybe take that character into a different direction. And two, did we really need a villain in this film? I feel like the film could have worked without a villain. You know, it could have just been a story about Miguel interacting with his family, kind of learning the history behind his family, and then making his way back into the land of the living. That, in my opinion, would be a far more unique and interesting story than this character ends up in a place, finds out the thing that he believed the whole time isn't actually what it was, and meets this villainous character, and the villainous character gets thwarted in the most cliche way possible by exposing the character for who they truly are. Come on, how many times have we seen that before? I think that's the most cliche thing in the entire film that really irked me, and I wasn't forgiving. I could forgive the conventional story because it was fun and had depth to it, but I cannot forgive that cliche villainous character. I'm sorry. Pero al final del día, amigos, Coco is yet another home run for the Pixar Animation Studio. They are now 2 for 2 this year, at least for me. And while I really enjoyed Cars 3, Coco is definitely the far superior film in animation, story, character, heart, depth, music, the whole 9 yards. And it's definitely one heck of a film that everyone should check out this Thanksgiving weekend. Pero como siempre, amigos, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Coco. I would love to know what you guys thought about the film as well. Did you love it to death? Is it one of your favorite Pixar films of all time? Or did you find it really boring and dull and conventional and cliche and you just couldn't get into it? And let me know, who is your favorite Mexican character, or what is your favorite Mexican film? Comment below, let me know, and stay tuned. You're going to be getting a very special Disney TV review that's going to get a little weird and going to get a little loud. Wink, wink, wink. So stay tuned for that. And I want to take this time to thank each and every one of the patrons who have donated to my Patreon account. And if you'd like to support this channel a bit more and keep it afloat, consider donating to my Patreon account. There's a link in the description, and those who donate to my channel will actually get the Disney Week videos one day or a couple hours advance before anybody else. So to give you an extra incentive to donate. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit that subscribe button below, hit that bell notification, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony II, also known as the Chico, Crítico, Negro. Till then, pass YouTube.